Uh, What's going on, everybody? We back with another Talkin Stock Tuesdays. I know this is going up on Wednesday. I'm sorry, I had technical difficulties last night, so I wasn't able to drop the premiere on YouTube like normal. But we here right now. I had to re-record it because it was some issues going on with one of my computers. But needless to say, you know what it is, and we back. So let's get right into it. We're gonna talk about the tariffs, of course, the trade war, tech, and what's been going on this week in the market, right? All right. So first things first, and I know my voice sounds a little crazy. My allergies are whooping me. Um, that's why my voice sounds like I'm sick. I'm not sick. It's just my allergies are destroying me right now. But anyways, so we got tariffs, tech, and tension, right? So what's been going on? Of course, we all know that this tariff war is still going on. President Trump's latest tariff shuffle has markets on edge, while some tech products like smartphones, chips got a temporary pass. The threat of future levies loom large. Market reaction, investors are riding the wave with tech stocks seeing a boost, but caution is the name of the game as policy directions remain unpredictable. So that's pretty much the whole overview of the market. We're going to get into Trump's pausing tariffs on smartphones and chips and tech of that nature, um, and what happened within the market because of it and how it's looking right now. Okay, so these are some stock picks to watch based on the information. Uh, Apple's having some issues, like we talked about before, um, with innovation and finding new ways to stay relevant and things of that nature. Also, they are getting hit with tariffs, even though the tariffs have been paused temporarily. It's still a lot to deal with their business model because of where it's based. Nvidia, benefiting from tariff exemptions, is leading the AI charge. Keep an eye on their moves, supercomputer space. Nvidia, regardless of what's going on with the tariffs in this moment, Nvidia will be a company of the future. That's not even neither here nor there. And it does seem that they are taking a turn to move more towards American manufacturing because I believe the CEO said that all of his new products will be built in a data center that they're building in the United States, right? So that's Trump friendly talk, and what I would say, right? So Goldman Sachs, right? So Goldman Sachs had their earnings report, and they posted a $4.7 billion profit in quarter 1, showing strength amid market volatility. Um, Keep in mind, this does not reflect the tariffs being on. The tariffs were officially slapped on in April. So that was at the end of the quarter. Um, so just keep that in mind. Their quarter 2 uh report, I would suspect, would be a little bit lower. Um, but it is a good sign to see that financial institutions are still being able to turn a profit in these times. That gives retail investors like us some hope, right? All right. So ETFs to watch, I love ETFs. These are probably some of my favorite right here, for sure. SPY, you already know about SPY. QQQ, just keep in mind that QQQ is tech heavy. So if tech dips, it's gonna dip with it. You got the VTI, which is the total stock market ETF. It covers the entire U.S. equity market. Um, and then GLD. And you know, I love gold. I am not in GLD, but I am in IAU, um, which is another gold ETF. And yeah, I'm doing pretty well in it. I bought in about a month ago. All right, so let's talk about Goldman Sachs, right? Um, so their profit surge reported a robust quarter one profit of 4.74 billion or $14.12 per share, making a 15% increase year over year. This surpassed analyst expectations, which anticipated $12.33 per share, right? So their revenue climbed, um investment banking dip despite the trading gains. Investment banking fees fell 8% to 1.9 billion, attributed to a slowdown in advisory services amid market uncertainties. Technical analysis. The current price. Now this is from a couple days ago, so it might have moved some. Um, that just shows you where the moving averages were and where the index was at the time and all that for entry. This is if you're considering getting into Goldman Sachs after playing the earnings, right? But keep in mind what I said. That was post. I mean, um, that was pre tariffs. So now that things are a little bit more shakier, um, yeah. So just to prove that point, CEO said David Solomon. He said acknowledge the markedly different operating environment in quarter two, but express confidence in the firm's ability to support clients amid volatility. So that he basically just said he acknowledged that the market is markedly different operating environment. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very different playing game for quarter two. So we'll see what that ends up being. Um, just not for nothing too. Another company that is looking to um drop earnings is Netflix. And you know I love Netflix. If you've been watching and you in the stock club, you know I love Netflix. So we're gonna see what that's been doing as well. All right. So let's talk about this tariff pause thing with the tech, right? Um, Trump is playing a very, very weird game of like cat and mouse. I don't understand his strategy on this, and I was vocal about it the last episode last week, so I'm not gonna get too deep into it again. I'm not gonna go on my rant, but what I don't like is that there's no stability, right? So um, companies and investors like us need stability to be able to do business. You don't want to run a business where you're importing goods that you need for your business, and every week the price keeps changing because the tariffs are getting higher, they're getting lower, they're getting paused, they're getting put back on. So I mean, it's almost impossible if you're a small business owner to really um maneuver through that time, right? So that's just my take on it. I don't I'm not getting political with it because I don't really care about all the politics side of it. I just care about the fact that it's not a good idea, in my opinion. But Trump hits pauses on tariffs, right? Relief or just a reprieve. So, and this is the thing that also bothers me. Well, let me read it first. So the announcement is President Trump has temporarily exempted key tech products like smartphones, laptops, and semiconductors from the hefty tariffs on Chinese imports. This move aims to alleviate immediate pressure on tech companies and consumers. Market reaction. Tech stocks surged following the announcement. Apple shares rose over 4%, and Nvidia saw significant gains, reflecting investor optimism. What's the catch, though? Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick emphasized that these exemptions are temporary. New tariffs, especially targeting semiconductors, are expected in the coming months. Conflicting messages. Despite the exemptions, President Trump stated on social media that no sector is exempt from tariffs indefinitely, adding uncertainty to the situation. While the current pause offers short-term relief, the tech industry remains on edge, anticipating potential future tariffs that could impact supply chains and pricing. Now, I'm gonna be real with y'all, and I know I said I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I got to. This makes absolutely zero amount of sense, and let me tell you, and without even getting all in the hoopla of it, NVIDIA is the biggest quote unquote American company in the world right now. It's not Apple, it's not Microsoft, it's NVIDIA. They're the most important country, the most important company to our country. If we lose the AI race, we have nothing. What is the reason that a lot of other countries want to come here? Because we have the best schools, we have the smartest people, which means tech, new innovations, and they come here because they know they can easily run it up here. Capitalism. The capitalism is dying because everybody's in debt. The treasury yield is ridiculous. Our country is deep in debt. So that one's gone. The institutions, he's going after institutions like Harvard had to put out a statement saying that they're not going to be bullied by the president because they're a private institution. So the school, and then he's cutting the funding to them. One of our most prestigious institutions in our country, he's cutting their funding because he's mad that they won't kiss his ring. There's the education. So they're not going to come here for that no more because you cut Harvard's funding and Harvard becomes a dog water school. Nobody's going to want to come here. You cut MIT's funding, nobody's going to come here. Nobody's buying that $5 million gold visa. It's not happening. So now you have one thing left, which was the innovation, tech. If we lose tech to another country, we're done. And Trump knows it. What do you think Project Stargate is all about? With Broadcom, I think it's called Stargate, with Broadcom and in SoftBank, where they're supposed to be investing hundreds of billions of dollars into AI development. Why do you think they're doing that? Because they know. Why do you think Trump is trying to make crypto American? He wants that to be an American currency. Why do you think he's doing that? Because he knows the financial side is done. He knows the country is done. He knows. So he's literally destroying the last thing he has left. He's killing the institutions with these dumbass cutting funding to schools because they won't play by the rules in his book. And then you you're killing your tech. And you know what's crazy about all of this? Tech is the reason he's president. Majority of his money came from tech billionaires. Remember that picture that we did on Talkin Stock Tuesdays? This was before it was on YouTube. When we was doing it on Zoom, I literally showed y'all all the CEOs that was in that inauguration. I literally named every single one of them to y'all and told y'all who they were. And he's telling them to their face after they got him elected, he tells them to their face that no no sector is exempt from tariffs indefinitely. This is crazy. And now there's another side to it. Now let's get into the insider trading side. Allegedly. Because the whole market is moving on every announcement that the White House makes. That is a very scary precedent. Now I'm a young man. I'm 26, about to be 27 in a couple weeks. I I personally don't remember a time. Now keep in mind I haven't been investing that long. I missed the 2008 crisis. I was too young. So I don't ever remember a time where every announcement the White House makes seems to affect the market. I mean, literally every announcement he makes about these tariffs affects the market. The moment he said, now keep in mind, we're not going to talk about the, a lot of people are talking about the tweet he put out when he said it's a good time to buy the dip. But all that aside, the moment he said there was going to be a temporary pause. No, let's go back to the beginning. I told y'all that a fake tweet, we literally covered it on Talkin Stock Tuesdays. A fake tweet went out that was from a bot account. Somebody made a bot account and tweeted out that Trump paused the tariffs for 90 days. Market literally did record-breaking numbers recovering from it, had dropped so bad. It was probably the worst drop since, I think they were saying since COVID. Stock market plummeted when he announced the tariffs. For 3 days straight, plummeted. I'm watching because I'm in the market. I have shares losing money 3 days straight. The moment that tweet went out, I'm at work, my job. I watch my stocks on my Webull on my phone. I'm looking at my stocks literally climbing 30%, 40%, 50%. I'm like, bro, what the? And it's not just one stock. Like, you know how you get a good day with one stock, the other ones might be doing some bullshit. But every single stock I own was green. It was greener than green. Bro, I'm watching my amount in my stock account, just numbers just rolling. Like, you know how when you pumping gas at the gas pump, the numbers just steady rolling, rolling, rolling. That's how I was looking at my account. All for that to end up being fake. Find out it was fake. The White House put out a statement saying that tweet was fake. Market shot right back down. Then a couple days later, or a week later, however long, he actually does pause the tariffs, except for China. And now he comes out and says tech products are exempt temporarily. Because first he just said they were exempt. Tech stocks went crazy. Boom. Now everything's up. QQQ's going crazy. Then they put out a statement and say, oh no, but that's only temporary. Don't get too hyped. That's just temporary, y'all. Then the market drops again. They put it out over the weekend, the statement that it was only temporary. The market was supposed to rally this past Monday, on the 14th. It was supposed to rally. It didn't rally because they put out the statement saying, oh nah, don't get too hype, y'all. Don't start buying that shit because it's only temporary. They're literally single-handedly moving the market with one statement. And I mean the entire market. That's a lot of power to have in the White House. That's all I'm saying. That's a lot of power, bro. Um, we need another GameStop sticking to the man type pump of some weird ass stock to get these motherfuckers up out of there. And they gonna be wondering, why are they pumping this? That's what we need. We need another GameStop pump where we could just be like, yeah, y'all don't control the market. Because right now it looking bad for retail investors. Because big banks, they have computer algorithms where they can just buy the shit at the moment it's announced. It was announced 5 seconds ago. Their computer's already buying. Plus, on the other hand, we probably don't even see the news. We at work, we go and see it 2 hours later. The market's already up 40%. So it's a lot going on. But anyways, let's keep going. So while the current pause offers short-term relief, the tech industry remains on edge, anticipating potential future tariffs that could impact supply chains and prices. So what I'm gonna say to y'all is, and I said this last week, yes, the market is green, but don't be green. Don't think this shit is a game because, like I told y'all just now, one tweet from Trump, one tweet from anybody in the White House, even fake tweets, can move the goddamn market. And I mean, really move it. Make or break you, move it. So you better get in where you fit in and be very careful. All right, let's talk about Meta. I know a lot of people love Meta. Meta is a good company that I like too. I think Zuckerberg does a lot of questionable shit, but I mean, what CEO billionaire does it? But anyways, so we have an antitrust showdown. Zuck versus the feds. The battle begins. So what is the case? The FTC has launched an antitrust lawsuit against Meta, alleging that its acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp were moves to stifle competition. Zuckerberg's defense. Mark Zuckerberg argues that Meta faces significant competition from platforms like TikTok and YouTube, challenging the FTC's claims. Potential impact. If the FTC succeeds, Meta could be forced to divest from Instagram and WhatsApp, reshaping the whole social media landscape. Now, this is interesting to me because, yes, TikTok and YouTube are a competitor of theirs, but so is Twitter, X. And who owns X? Well, who did own X for a long time was Elon Musk. I think he just recently sold it. But I think he sold it to himself. Didn't he sell it to his AI company? I don't know. It was weird. That was some weird shit. I don't know what the hell Elon Musk is doing with X. But anyways, it's funny that he gets hit with this and Elon Musk um didn't have to face any type of scrutiny for the shit he did with X. But whatever. And you know they don't like each other either. So I'm interested even more about Elon. Very interested to see what they say about TikTok. Because TikTok has been doing some weird shit. Like Trump was going to ban it. He did ban it for a day. It came back. They said they were going to make a deal, but that TikTok is is only temporarily back, and I think the deadline is coming up. So the question becomes now: is TikTok ever going to get banned? Are they actually making a deal? What is really going on? Does this lawsuit have something to do with TikTok's deal? Hmm. Very interesting questions. Very interesting questions because there were rumors, allegedly, that um when TikTok was up on trial to fight against getting banned, some people were saying that Zuckerberg was lobbying with the politicians to push hard on TikTok. So a lot of people were watching the hearing and they were saying, damn, they're being like kind of mean to the guy. Treat him like he's a Chinese spy and all that. I wonder if that's because Zuckerberg maybe, gave him a little something or something. I don't know that for certain. That's alleged. I have no clue. Um, that's for entertainment purposes only. But anyways, okay. So market caution beneath the surface, right? So this shit, I want to make very, very clear. This shit is a lot bigger than just this trade war. Now, the trade war is the biggest catalyst for some of the shit that may occur in the future. Some of the hardships, I should say. Um, but I want everybody to really understand that there's a lot of things going on at once. Yes, the market may have green days or days where they get good news and things pump. But during this situation, um, we are not in a good place economically. I want to make that very, very, very clear. And it's not just about the market, it's about the economy as a whole. So let's really talk about it in a way that I don't want to scare you out of the market where you're like, oh, I wouldn't even invest in the stock market. But my point is, right now is the time where if you're going to invest, you have to know what's coming ahead with your investment. Because you don't want to invest, lose money because you don't understand what's going on. Then you sell, you took a big L, and now you're like, fuck the stock market. Right? So what you kind of want to do is, even if you're gonna buy, you have to know what could possibly happen. If shit goes left, you understand why it went left and what is occurring. So that way you can make a real educated guess or decision about, should I stay in to see if this goes back up? Should I wait? Are things going to get better? Are they getting better? Things of that nature. You got to know these things to know. So let's get into it. Despite the recent rallies, the S&P 500 remains down approximately 8% year to date, indicating underlying market fragility, right? So that's one thing. The most important thing, I think so, is what happened with Japanese people, or Japan, the country, selling US bonds. Japan was the biggest holder of United States Treasury bonds. They are selling our bonds because of all this tariff nonsense, which goes along with what I said before when I went on my rant about this dumbass decision that you're going to push countries away from us. And yes, we are a big country, but a lot of small countries make up a big country. If they can put their differences aside because they hate us so much, we're going to be in a world of pain. And I'm talking real pain. So that is very, very not good. The 10-year treasury is at 4.5%, the highest since October 2024, raising concerns about the stability of the bond market. If you watch Earn Your Leisure like I do, which is another great show that I learned from personally, that inspired me to do Talkin Stock Tuesdays. So shout out to them. But Ian Dunlap has been talking about the bond market crashing for years now, literal years. So this is not something that just happened just because of the tariffs. This has been happening. This has been happening. So you wonder why Trump is making all these big moves that you can't understand. It's probably because they're scared, bro. They're watching an empire fall before their eyes and they're saying, we need somebody who can try to fix this shit. Yes, people are gonna hate you because, and that's what I think Trump was always the fall guy, bro. Keep it above. That's why it makes sense. He's a guy that, all right, this is alleged. This is another conspiracy theory type. But it makes sense why Trump was elected. He was not a politician. People already kind of hated him because of just who he was, and because of WWE, people hated him. And like his TV, on TV, he always played a rich jerk. Like one of those CEO dudes that you just hate them because they're always an asshole, right? I think they literally knew that Trump would be hated like this. They made him the fall guy. Somebody, no, I don't think any in their right mind politician would willingly be the president that has to be the one to do this and put a world of pain on his citizens to try to correct this shit once and for all. And I honestly think that's what's happening. I truly believe that Trump thinks that these things will eventually help America in the future. And I just think they knew that the plan was gonna have to be so extreme that they needed a fall guy. They needed somebody old that's gonna die before people realize he was the fall guy. He's gonna be dead. He don't give a fuck. He's already rich, so he's like, I don't care if people hate me. People always hated me. I mean, people always talk shit about Trump, even back in the day when he was bankrupting all those casinos. People talk shit about him. So I truly believe he's the fall guy. I think the US government knew that the US was declining. The economic situation was getting so bad that something drastic had to change. No politician was willing to sacrifice their legacy to be the one to put that change in. I think Biden was supposed to do it and he didn't do it. Biden is old as shit. If he would have got in office, I think his old ass would have tried to do something, but I don't think it would have been like this though. I think they needed Trump to be in office because he is the fall guy, allegedly. That's just my conspiracy theory, but I'm sorry, y'all. I'll be trying to make the show a little entertaining with my little stories. But anyways, back to it. Another thing that we need to understand very, 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 very much is that do not talk to a Republican and let them tell you we are winning this trade war, or we're gonna win this trade war. Anybody that tells you we're gonna win this trade war does not know economics and how they work. I don't care how many degrees you got, how many years of experience you got. You obviously don't understand fundamental economics. They have every card you can name, all of them. They got all the cards. We are not a motherfucking speck on a goddamn flower to China for real. The only thing we good to them for is trade and and that we got the biggest consumer base. That's it. But if you can get consumers from 50, 20, 30 other countries, you will eventually, and a lot of these countries are developing, like India, Brazil. These places are developing. South Africa, they're developing so much. Once they start to be able to buy shit and they really develop their consumer base, those countries put together will equal our consumer base. So Trump's trying to play the long game, but China's been playing the long game. Why do you think China owns so much infrastructure? They've been playing the long game this whole time. The US is the only one that was thinking short term when they chose to let all the industries go to fucking China. Y'all were playing short money, short term gain. In long term, you knew that this situation would occur. As smart as all them people are, I know there was at least one financial nigga that said, look, we can move all these companies to China, but if we do that in the future, we will have cities that are torn apart by y'all leaving. They knew that. So China has been playing the long game. They were prepared for this. You know how long China's been preparing for this? China is smart. If they couldn't do if they couldn't withstand this, they would have played nice. They would say, okay, y'all got it. We're gonna switch it up. They would have played a longer game. They would have said, okay, we're too weak to strike now. Wait until we get a little stronger. They've been doing that. That was their whole strategy. Now they're strong enough. So when Trump called, he thought they was gonna settle it real quick. No. China said, no, no, no. I've been preparing 30 years for this. For the last 30 years, I've been preparing for this exact moment where you slip and I can take you from under your feet. That's what China's doing. They're never going to surrender. And that's what scares me because now I'm thinking, what can you do really past this point? You can leave the tariffs on, fine. But you really think Trump is just going to stop there? I don't think so. So that's a whole nother conversation about where all of this is actually headed. You see why he was in there yelling at Ukraine, you better stop that war with Russia because I'm over here beefing with China. I can't be beefing with China and Russia at the same time. I got to pick one. So you, as being my ally, I can't keep having this war going on because I'm funding the war. I'm giving you the weapons. Russia's going to take that personally. Now, if China decide to get froggy, Russia going to say, shit, well, they funding a war against me. Let me jump in on that. That's why he's telling Ukraine, you better stop this. I need you to end this war now. You got to think a little bit beyond the box, bro. Allegedly. But anyways, so While markets show signs of recovery, underlying risks in both equities and bonds, coupled with geopolitical tensions, suggest a cautious approach is warranted. Right? So my final thoughts are just stay sharp, stay ready. Um, don't just throw your money in at the first sign of relief from all this going on, because you never know what's gonna happen, right? So please don't play tweets unless you are an experienced trader. Please do not be trying to play the tweets like, oh well, I'm waiting on this tweet to drop so I can run it up. You know, like please don't become one of the people. But anyways, so while tech stocks are enjoying a temporary boost, the underlying tensions from tariffs and regulatory actions mean volatility could return, which it is going to return, because NVIDIA just got even worse news about how they're going to be implementing specific tariffs on chips. So it's nasty outside. But anyways, what is the investment strategy? Diversification remains key. Keep a balanced portfolio and stay informed on policy changes that can impact the markets, right? And this is just showing you Apple's DCF. This is the most popular stocks for Gen Z. And you could just screenshot these. I'm just showing y'all because I just found them. And these are your 5-year returns versus the S&P, your 10-year returns versus the S&P for your ETFs. So you see, like these are all the ETFs that you see. You see VOO is 0.1% 5-year return versus the S&P. So it got 0.1% more return than the S&P. And this is which was another one I like. QQQ. QQQ got 79.7% over 5-year return, more than the S&P would have gave it. In over 10 years, they got 291%. That's because it's all in tech mostly. Then you got the 1,000 growth ETF. A lot of these growth, the ones that got a lot of growth stocks in it, are outperforming the S&P, but we don't know if that's going to be the case upcoming based on all of this uncertainty and things of that nature. So, but that's all I got for y'all, man. Thank you for tuning in. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I will be uploading this on my YouTube. And peace. Make sure you join the stock club too, also. Peace.